Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. Let's meet your hosts, Chris Angel and Michael Maher.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Referrals Podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Michael Maher, and our guest, Jodie Osofsky from Utah. Beautiful smiles, people. Beautiful smiles. I love it. Cheers. Michael, another episode is coming up here.
This is crazy. Referrals Podcast is taking over the world, or at least taking over my schedule. This has been fantastic. It's, I think some people are surprised that even though 7L is written from the perspective of the solopreneur or the individual real estate agent or individual mortgage professional, that it is as applicable or even more so at a corporate level or an enterprise level, at the brokerage level. And and why is that top of mind? I just had some emails from some people who are implementing this at a brokerage level. So their agents are inviting people to the events, and the agents are doing quite a bit of this. And at a corporate level, they're creating, instead of doing the Pi Day individually, they're doing the Pi Day at the company, right? So their salespeople are just inviting people to the Pi Day. And listen, if a salesperson can't sell a free pie, then they need to be fired. So, So anyway, it's been exciting reading the emails. Please email me. I love this. It's podcast@referco.com. And I love reading these comments. And actually, today's episode is the result of an email that we received about events other than I Love You Latte. What are some things that we can do? And also, people are like, more on networking. You know, I don't have a big sphere, or I don't have a big database, or I'm new to the area, right?
Yep.
And so I love today is going to be focusing on networking, and I'm just going to say the word chocolate, right? That way our ratings go up, people tune in. But networking and hot cocoa. And Jodie, welcome to the show. Jodie Osofsky's in the house.
Yeah.
Utah's finest wife.
Right.
She's so good. Her husband only needs one wife.
There you go.
It's a Utah joke. It's so funny. It's Jodie O.
Handle more than one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have her bio? Read her bio. This is like off the charts. Do you have a bio for her at all? Probably not.
Yeah. I've got some fancy bullet points here for Jodie.
Fancy bullet points with sparkles. I love it.
Yeah, well, obviously, Jodie is a realtor, born and raised in Salt Lake City, Utah. So those of you listening, if you have Salt Lake City referrals, you can send them over to Jodie. She learned real estate from her mom before she went out on her own, and she is a certified referral trainer of the 7L system. That's actually how, Jodie, you and I met, was at the CRT event.
Yeah.
Right.
And she is, this is what we get to unpack today with Jodie, is she is famous for her networking skills and growing her business by referral. And I think, Michael, to your point earlier about events, I think there's so much attention right now on social media and digital this and digital that. And what isn't often said is the success stories in digital stuff. What isn't said is the network and relationships they had behind the scenes that helped them get traction in their digital stuff. And so what I love about this podcast, and then Jodie, what we get to explore with you today, is really maybe it's a lost art of building relationship through networking and really creating connection, because that's what helps digital stuff get viral, is the network, the relationship. So Jodie, as Michael said, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're talking about your events. Like, what is the event? You have a very specific event that involves chocolate, but what's the event that we're kind of uncovering today?
So it's called Cookies and Cocoa with Santa, and my event is once a year. It is in 2 weeks from today, actually.
Nice.
And this is my 5th year doing this. I have other events throughout the year. As Michael touched on briefly, the brokers that I'm at, they actually do client appreciation events as an office where you can invite your clients, and I do some of those. And then I also do some of my own. This just seems to be I don't know if it's just my favorite or, and that comes through to my clients. It seems to be one of my most well attended on a regular basis though.
Yeah. You've been doing it for how long?
5 years.
5 years. I love
cocoa with Santa.
Cookies
And I
and
know
Like secret number one, just take all the best things in the world and put them in the title of your event.
Nice.
Right?
I love it.
It's just like chocolate and puppies and
I love it.
So ironically, my my summer event, which is a food truck thing, is going to have a strut your mutt component to it this next year.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Food trucks and puppies. I don't know.
Mutt.
I'm playing with names.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I want to say real quick, I want to say this because Jodie, this episode is going to air in January, which is great. And it's, we're in November at the time of the recording of this.
That's right.
So for those of you listening, just take what Jodie's going to share and frame it either you can listen to this like this is next holiday season stuff, or you can take the guts of what the infrastructure of this stuff Jodie's going to share and think about just the rest of the year. It doesn't sound about Christmas.
Events have a blood flow to them, right? They have a consistency to them. So what she's doing to make it a success in December is the same thing that we can do to make it a success in March or April or July. I mean, Christmas in July is one of the biggest events in Kansas City.
Really?
Right? Christmas in July it's a volunteer organization who goes and people ask for help on repairing their home. So volunteers go to these different homes in July and fix or repair the homes as a group, and it's called Christmas in July. So it's the same aspects that we're using for cookies and cocoa with Santa is it could be eggs and Benedict eggs and something with Easter bunny, right?
Right. Yeah. I love it.
It's the same formula. It's just got a different flavor to it. Every one of my events. But
Jodie, just a little backstory on your team or your business. Tell me just give me a little glimpse of do you have a team? Are you a solo agent? How much are you doing in volume? Give me some of that for backstory.
So, I am a solo agent. I do have a full-time assistant and I mentor some newer agents. I have a past client right now that is getting in the business, getting her license and wanting to work with me. So we're exploring that, but as of now, solo licensed.
Perfect. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, what give us some of the secrets to this event. What makes this event work for you? What kind of results are you seeing from these hot cocoa events?
So one of the reasons I think it is my favorite is I have made it simple enough and not put, in the past, it's been so easy in my client events to put me in the back end of it too much to where I don't get to interact with my clients and enjoy the party with them and interact with them. I'm too busy running everything behind the scenes. So that is part of what I love about it. It's so cost effective too. So one of the keys I think is finding a great Santa that doesn't just look great, but has a personality and isn't creepy. Those are good keys.
It doesn't smell like beef and cheese.
It doesn't smell like beef and cheese. And the kids are terrified of it. Because my clients want their photo with him. So I've got a twofer for them. They get to hang out with me, but also they get a great quality professional photo with Santa of their kids that they can use in their holiday cards, and they don't have to wait in the stupid mall lines.
Yep.
Which is a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Huge benefit.
Yeah.
Is that they also trust the Santa. The mall Santa thing has almost become criminal. I mean, it's almost to the point where, you hear the bad stories. I'm sure there's many people who volunteer or get paid to do that, who live it up, do a great job. But you unfortunately, you hear the stories of the bad one. Well, they know you've already vetted out the Santa, right? They know it's going to be a really picturesque and appropriate environment. And a lot of times when you stand in line with your kids, you're at the mall. So it's like it's going to cost you $100 to get the picture, and then it costs you $200 to get out of the mall, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those where it's very powerful in that way. And less line. And if you've got activities for them to do instead of them waiting in line, then huge win-win just from the photos with Santa.
So I'll tell you, right from when they walk up, we've tried to create a full Candyland type experience. So right before they walk in the door, I have a table out front that has some Christmas stationery in a big Christmassy looking box, and it's letters that go to the North Pole. So I encourage the kids to write their letter to Santa and sign it. And then what I do is I scan those to the parents so they know what their kids are getting, because I've had many years with my children where they sit on Santa's lap a week before Christmas and their list is reinvented. And I've never heard of these things. And they're like, well, I told Santa. So I've tried to take the mystery out of that for parents' sake. And then as soon as they walk in the door, they can either go over and get with Santa if he's doing photos at that moment, or they can decorate sugar cookies, go to the hot cocoa bar, or then I have a table of coloring pages, just black and white coloring pages with buckets of crayons. And then throughout the party, if Santa needs breaks from sitting in his chair, he gets up, he goes and decorates cookies with the kids, he colors with the kids, he wanders around and interacts with them. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That's the spirit of Christmas.
It's an awesome night. So my Santa moved to Wyoming 2 years ago, and he
flies back
for my events. So.
No way.
Flies back.
Really?
Yeah. He flies back. Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long are these events, Jodie?
So this one's 6 to 8 this year. It's typically, I have Santa there. I tell him 2.5 hours, and he'll stay as long as he needs to.
Wow. How many people show up for that?
Families, I say 40 to 50 families kind of go through. So total people probably around 200.
Wow.
200 people?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I would think that's an assembly line for does it not feel like an assembly line going through the pictures with Santa? Like, how do you get that many people through the photos?
Doesn't. And it's funny because I have a few clients who have done family pictures every year. So when Santa's up moving around, the photographer goes over, puts them, because I have a nice backdrop. It isn't over Christmas. I just do a white backdrop with twinkle lights. Yeah. And it's a gray, like, wingback chair that he sits in. So then they'll do family photos, and I email them all the digitals of everything. So,
Jodie, I'm going to unpack this a little bit. I think one thing that you're doing with this event that is a lesson for everyone is that you're making it not just an event, but an experience. Like you said, we're setting it up to be like a Candyland experience, right? And if it was Candy Cane Land, then Will Ferrell would probably attend. Buddy the Elf reference. And anytime I can reference Buddy the Elf, it's going to happen. The Elf movie is a requisite, the greatest Christmas movie of all time. That's my opinion. But here's the thing, right? Is, San Francisco. That's fun to say. I'm sorry. I had to say it. So I think that's the one thing. The other thing too is that, let's say you did not have the time, energy, effort, or money maybe you're going to have some money for this idea. But one thing that you could do is you could do a mall Santa. And now I'm talking about like people that are listening to this or watching it. Is you could do a mall Santa and sponsor people through the line, right? So you could, if let's say you didn't have the time or the office or the space or the setup, and even negotiate a deal with the people. Maybe you even, if they start at 10, maybe you have a 9:30 to 10 for your clientele, and you'll pay for their Santa pictures to be done. You don't have any of the setup and all that, but you're still doing a client or an appreciation of the families that know you. And it's a way to give back to people. But I love that you're taking that photo with Santa and building off of it and making it more of an experience. And while people are waiting in line, they have things to do. And you got a great Santa. You got a great Santa to play the part. It's a great experience for the kids.
So yeah, it is. And what's kind of fun is I have the last 5 years of a lot of my clients' kids' Christmas photos. So it is kind of fun. I'll, on my Facebook event page, I'll post photos from past years. There's one I'll share with you that is my youngest, who's now 10. I think this was 3 or 4 years ago. It's her total Buddy the Elf moment. When Santa walked in the door, her hand was waving so fast, it's a blur. I'll send it to you. It's amazing. Like her eyes were lit up and she's just like, ah! It's awesome to see those. And I had a very good client of mine's toddler pass away last year. And I have the most awesome picture close up of him with his little brother and Santa that I was able to share with my clients and remind them of those special moments. So yeah, it's not just getting pictures with Santa. It's become a tradition for a lot of my clients.
Exactly. And that's another reminder for everybody to take photos and get videos at every event they do, right? I don't care what event you do, take photos, get videos, even if you never use them. It's great to have them no matter what. And so what made you decide to do this 5 years ago?
I'm always looking to do something a little different and tweaked compared to the rest of the agents around me. Like a pumpkin patch, I do a pumpkin patch. I participate in my office's pumpkin patch party. That's an easy plug and play one that I don't have to think about.
Right.
But I was resistant to it for many years because everyone else does it. I'm a rebel without a cause. And so I found, although everyone does an Easter egg hunt, no one was really doing photos with Santa around here. So decided that I needed, I guess as a mom, I know how annoying it is waiting in line with nothing else to do. So I needed activities, and it just kind of morphed into what it is.
You solved the problem for parents, right? You solved the problem for parents everywhere. You know, the parents in your network, either just didn't go to the mall Santa, or were going and paying too much and waiting in line too long and costing too much. And so you solved the problem for your network, right? Which is very, very powerful. And part of the reason that a lot of events get started. How has it evolved over 5 years? What are you doing now that you weren't doing in the beginning?
Well, in the beginning, because whatever I do is better, right, than anything that could be outsourced.
I hope so.
That's every real
Jodie O,
right?
Our expectations are huge.
Right. So my sugar cookies were the ones we were doing.
Now we're talking.
My homemade buttercream frosting.
Oh,
so I remember the first year, as my clients were arriving early, because why not?
Yeah.
I am over in the kitchen area with a little apron on, but covered in powdered sugar because I'm trying to mix the frosting too quickly. So I learned that a local grocery store here has a thing called a sugar cookie kit that I purchase now. Wow. And I go and pick them up, and then I set them out on nicer platters, and people love them. There's no difference. My cookies weren't
the Jodie O sugar cookie, baby. I see it. I see the Jodie O sugar cookie kit. I see you selling your little kits. I mean, it's like, dang. That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I got a little too crazy and focused on the little things that didn't make a difference to the overall experience the first year.
Like what? Like what? Because there's a lot of people that watch. I mean, the people we tend to attract to this podcast are that type, right? They want to be awesome. They're a rebel like you and I and Chris are, and they want it to be better. And so they do sometimes get lost in the detail. And I do want to come back to the whole you not getting lost in the background, you interacting with your clientele more. But tell us, what were some of those things that you don't need to do anymore?
So I have my 14-year-old daughter, slave labor, and her friends. They get to come and have all the hot cocoa and cookies they want.
That's great pay. That's not slave labor. You are paying them well.
Yes.
Sugar.
They have to make sure that the hot cocoa is full, and that the marshmallows and all the hot cocoa bar toppings get stocked, and that we're not running out of sugar cookies. And they do all the background stuff. They're like Jodie's little helpers.
Yeah.
And I thought for some reason I had to have the most unique sprinkles the first year. So I spent hours on Amazon and websites searching for the most unique, ornate sprinkles. And
I told you sprinkles was going to come up.
Yep.
Sparkles and sprinkles.
Yep.
I could have predicted it, right?
And they had to match. So this is my OCD. They had to match my napkins. And I was on the hunt for the perfect branding situation of the holiday napkins and plates, not to clash with the sprinkles. I don't get that obsessed anymore.
You just use white napkins.
I don't. I do holiday napkins.
I knew.
But I just keep it simple, and I use whatever sprinkles come in the cookie kit.
There you go.
And the hot cocoa, I learned very the hard way on carpet. Don't do red hots in a hot cocoa bar. As delicious as it might be when children spill it, it's really a bear to get out of any flooring.
These are why people listen to this podcast.
Good tip. Yeah, good tip.
Yeah.
Things you don't think of.
Sorry, people.
Working by referral is not some fairy tale world. It's real. I've seen it. And you can too. Invest in yourself by learning how to run your business by referral at Michael's upcoming live event. It will be a day filled with hands-on, how-to, low to no-cost strategies that you can implement in your business right away. Learn how to run a business by referral that not only feeds your family, but feeds your soul. Go to www.gengenevents.com today. That's www.gengenevents.com.
So how do you get back into the mingling, right? Your first couple of years, you really got lost, and I will tell you that my experience with the barbecue, my first year, I wore the apron. It said something like "Kiss the Cook" or something cool. And so I was on top of the barbecue doing hamburgers and hot dogs, and I couldn't see for like 3 days afterwards because of the smoke. And I didn't get to interact with anybody because I was so busy cooking. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was the most awful event ever. They're all going, it was awesome. And I'm like, I can't see. So.
And you don't get to talk with anybody.
How'd you mingle? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So on that note, that's why my barbecue is now a food truck event. So I don't even touch the food.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
I've taken this whole sprinkles thing and I've spread it out all over my whole business. And I outsource as much as possible so that I found that even though I thought initially like my cookies were going to be the important part, my clients want to talk to me. They don't care about eating my cookies.
That's right. It's you. You are the gift. You don't need a gift.
Yeah.
You are the gift. That's
and
right.
So I greet them as they walk in the door. I'm walking around, I'm mingling. I really have no responsibility that night except for paying the photographer and Santa at the end of the night and cleaning up when we're done.
High five.
Yeah.
You have learned to leverage, right?
Yes.
And what they want? They want the love, right? They want the hugs. They want the Jodie O hug. They want the Jodie O love, right? Yeah. And that's eventually that's what people will come for, right? In the beginning, you're solving a problem, right? You're conquering the photo with Santa. Some people are conquering the having to go get Thanksgiving pie, right? We do a lot of pie days and help people do those. And the Arbor Day, right? And it's like, eventually that just becomes an excuse to get the Michael J. love or the Jodie O. love or the Chris Angel love, right? And it's just like, there's a love and an energy to live events that you simply cannot get online online. And we were talking about social media. Yep. It's like, we have to remember that social media is just the promise of an offline relationship.
That's good.
Right. That's all online is.
Yeah.
Online communication is the promise of some future offline communication. Right. And so that's what these live events do. And that's the power of the live event and inviting them to it. Right. It's an attraction model versus a chasing model. And we attract them. And early on, you may invite people and get 5 or 6 who come because your influence just isn't very strong. Yeah. Right. But what happens over time, Jodie O, how many people did you have at your first cookies and cocoa with Santa event?
I'd say probably around 15 to 20 families. It's
Now you have 200 people.
Yeah, like it's always been a decent turnout, and that's why I've continued to do it and morphed it. I used to do it much closer to Christmas, where now I do it right after Thanksgiving because of the holiday card thing, which is why my pie event has now moved to my birthday, because I'm born on Pie Day. So
Yeah.
314, gotta love it.
There you go.
So I think that you can tell what events your clients really click with. And I think if you just get back to you and what you would enjoy if you were attending the party, then you can't miss.
That's a gem.
Yeah.
That's a gem. See, the beauty of what we teach, and the beauty, I mean, I guess it's not even the beauty of what we teach necessarily, but it's like you pick the events. We'll create the system and the formula, but what you do, what you invite people into your life to do is 100% up to you.
Yep.
Right. And that's the beauty of this is Jodie's cookies and cocoa with Santa is another person's roller coaster meeting on and all they do is meet and talk about the roller coasters that they went on over the last year. Right. There are roller coaster aficionados, right? There are people who are passionate about roller coasters.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's what the event, and listen, this is somebody I have in mind, obviously. And they get together, and one of the things, and they have videos, and they share the videos, and the videos are from first person so the other people can experience.
Wow.
And they get together and they share all these 3-minute rides, and then they, meet next quarter doing the same thing, right? What it is, you're getting them together, you're giving a reason for people to share a passion, and what happens is there is a business benefit to this because you're the organizer, you're the conduit, you're the catalyst for bringing people together to share the passions, and they want to give back, and the way they give back
is referrals, baby. And they don't even have to ask. No. I don't have to ask for the referral. It just happens because we're there talking. It's just they want to thank me, and how they thank me is by sharing me with their friends and family.
I want to go deeper on that for a second, because I just had a conversation with a broker. He's got his own office in Florida with 30 plus agents, and the conversation came up about how to market or connect with the people in his community. And what we were suggesting wasn't about real estate. And he went back, was excited. His wife was like, yeah, but if you're going to do marketing, you're an agent. You should really be talking about real estate. And so what I want to know from you two, because you guys have been there and done this, is what is your response to everybody who buys into the relationship side of it? They're like, oh, thank God I don't have to go do all the stuff I hate doing, but I can't quite get over the gap of how I make this come back to real estate. So what's the answer? Because this comes up all the time.
Well, you have to sprinkle, pun intended, the successes and the business, the success stories like Michael talks about. You have to make sure your community knows when you have successes and what those successes are and the pains that you can solve for people. And then at the parties, they're constantly stalking you and watching you, and those conversations just come up when they see you. They want to know how the market is because they already know you're the expert. You're their trusted expert.
Mm-hmm. So good.
That's it, right? Is that they know what you do.
Yeah.
Right. What they don't know is that you want and need referrals, right, and want and need business and want and need their help. We need to communicate in a way that allows them to know that we always need their referrals. We always need their help. We always need their business, because here's the deal. If a business has to have business, otherwise it's out of business. Right.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where it's communication is the bridge, Chris, communication. Yeah. And in many cases, it's an excuse to have a conversation, right? Conversations lead to conversions. Mm-hmm. And the conversation is what we're doing here. And a live, energetic conversation is really powerful. The other thing that happens at a live event is that somebody who doesn't know you meets somebody who loves you. Well, when a person who doesn't know you meets somebody that loves you, the person that was a stranger now loves you, right? Yep. So we call it the champion plus champion equals 2 ambassadors, or an A plus an A equals 2 A pluses. And what that means is there's synergy that grows because they're together, right? They're networked together. They see each other. The 2 people who like you, they talk about you. At the end, they love you. They both love you, right? It increases the relationship, and it increases far more doing that than it would anything you post on Facebook and anything you could ever say, right? Yeah. And a part of this, I'm sorry, Jodie, one last thing, and then let's go to is that some people are talking so loudly about themselves that others can't and won't talk about them. And like Jodie says, you're subtle about this. And the less you talk about yourself, what you discover is that other people will champion you and be your brand ambassador and your ambassador for you at these events.
Well, there's something, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt it, just like, but it came out.
That's how this
works. What is so cool is I've noticed, and this happened probably 8-9 years ago when I really got into the groove of doing my quarterly client appreciation events. And that is, they all get to know each other and they become a community. And I'm not the only reason that they're there, but they get to know each other and they start talking with each other, and they look forward to seeing those other people again. And that is just amazing, because then the new people into it really feel like it is a community. It's not just a Jodie client appreciation party. It is an event. They don't want to miss it. They come and they have fun with each other.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah.
It's a family.
Yeah.
Right? It's a family. It's like, welcome to the family. And it is a family. And part of it, I mean, you know, family is family. It's something that we do want to get together and celebrate. And in some cases, it's probably closer than a lot of people's family, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I feel like one of the things that I'm noticing in this conversation is that in the absence of a plan for communication, you go into every piece of communication as if this is the last time I'm ever going to do it. So I try to like kill everybody for referrals. I sell. But if you had a plan and you knew that you don't have to go talk about your business and what you sell at your event, because you know there are other places like success stories in communication that you're going to send at other times. You know there's this nice spread or diversity of kinds of communication. You don't have to sell every time you do something. But if you don't have a plan, then you're scared and you're
commission
desperate.
Yeah,
you're
desperate.
You're a desperate, pushy salesperson, right?
Yeah.
Without a plan, and that's the joy. And Jodie, here's the thing: where do you hold your cookies and cocoa with Santa?
So the last couple of years, it's been here at my current brokerage.
Wait, what? It's where?
At my brokerage.
Oh, wait, what? You mean at your office? What kind of office is it?
Meeting room.
Is it a real estate office?
It is a real estate office.
You're holding your cookies and cocoa with Santa at a real estate office. How much do you have to say anything about real estate if it's at your real estate office?
Seriously.
Not to say anything in those scenarios for sure, but I've outgrown it. It was a little too tight last year.
Oh my God. And you mean eventually your event was so big that you had to take it out of your real estate office? And here's the other thing is, like, when you invite people to your office, is it a high pressure conversation, or is it, hey, you remember the place you went to cookies and cocoa with Santa, right? It's the same place. So it wears off the edge of a place of business. That's another thing that doing these events does, is that it takes down the barrier. It's like, ooh, I don't want to come to your office because all you're going to do is sell me.
Right.
So Jodie, keep talking about that, right?
Well, yeah, I outgrew it. So I am at a local park pavilion, indoor pavilion, which is beautiful. And it didn't break the bank either. I mean, it cost me, because I'm a resident of that city, $75.
Wow.
Oh, geez,
and all the tables and chairs are there. The microphone system's there. The lighting's great. All I have to bring is Santa's throne and my goodies.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So good.
So, Jodie, do you have sponsors?
Yes, I have a sponsor at every
That's
event.
the right answer. I'm just kidding.
Jodie Osofsky. He's with Fairway Independent Mortgage.
Hey, big and bold, baby. I'm married to a mortgage professional. His name is Dave Osofsky. He works for Fairway, and he's my sponsor. He helps co-sponsor these. Do you have any other sponsors?
Sorry?
Do you have other sponsors?
Not typically. I try not to make it about the businesses. My bigger events, I've toyed with that idea just to help me with the cost. This one, because it cost me $600 all in, cookies and all. Like, it's so cheap.
How many referrals did you get last year?
Last year, I got 3 deals from it. Referrals, I don't, probably another 3 or 4 talked about that night that just don't turn into much. But I would say on average, I get 3 to 4 deals from any event.
Closings, like transactions.
Yes.
Yeah. So like $12,000 for your $600 investment.
Yeah. And there, my golden goose families, I have 2 golden goose families that always take care of me every year, and they attend every event. So I kind of feel like there's probably a lot more that I could attribute to those. They just come to everything. So I try and tie them to the most recent event.
I can guess what that means, but what is the Golden Goose family?
They're a family that I go to. I get invited to the weddings. I get invited to the baby showers, and I'm introduced to new people in their family as the family realtor.
Yep.
They consistently give me, depending on the year, between 5 and 10 referrals.
Wow.
5 and 10 closed deals.
That's the golden goose, right? The golden egg that keeps the goose that keeps giving golden eggs. That's the reference, right? Yeah. Wow. Killer. That's incredible.
Yeah, they're great.
I love it. Well, if we started to wrap this conversation, I think a couple things. One, Jodie, you've already said like you were willing to share your system, your checklist, and some of the stuff that you do to set up these events. Yeah.
Yeah, happy to show you my invitation. It's not fancy. I designed it on Canva.
Yeah.
There's always an element of silly. My printer pointed out to me when he printed these last ones. He's like, I knew you designed it because there's an element of silly.
That's great. I love
how I roll.
People love personality.
So you're sharing the invitation and the checklist for doing an event, for doing the cookies and cocoa. That's fantastic. That could be a great download.
Yeah.
So I was going to tell you a really quick little funny blurb. At my Cinco de Mayo a couple years ago, my daughter's play was the same day. Terrible timing. And I had to leave my Cinco de Mayo event to go to my daughter's play because, being a mom comes first.
Yep.
So I had my printer make giant my head and put it on a stick so that my assistant, who's my niece, who's, height challenged, she could hold it up in a crowd so people could see, because that's a collaborative office Cinco de Mayo event. Nice. So I wanted my clients to be able to know where to find Michelle to be able to get their taco tickets and stuff. So I put my head on a stick. So my head on a stick will show up from time to time. We've toyed of playing like Where's Waldo around the.
Yeah. Where's Jodie O?
Yeah.
I love it. That's so good. That's really awesome. Fun.
Yeah.
Well, you guys listening to this can get that by going to referralspodcast.com. Referralspodcast.com is where you can get the things that Jodie's sharing. It's so awesome. I kind of want to wrap with, you guys can leave with some parting wisdom, but the thing that's coming up for me is Seth Godin talks about marketing sometimes where he says, most people do marketing to and at people. And marketing, when you really kind of get what marketing is about and what makes it successful, marketing really should be with and for people. And I think when you look at Jodie solving a problem for parents with taking pictures with Santa, that's a perfect example of marketing with them and for them, right? And that just comes back around to you. It's the law of reciprocity. It comes back around to you, but you don't have to force it. You don't have to force it.
No.
People get it. People get it when you do it the right way.
It's time. right? This is the generosity generation.
Yes.
It's time to do less marketing to strangers, and it's time to do more communicating with friends.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? This is the time. It is time to change our approach, because the marketing to strangers approach is way too costly and you don't have to do that anymore. It's way costly and it's hard to measure. Yeah. Whereas with communicating with friends, it's extremely easy to measure, but even more important, it's a lot of fun to do. And these are the people who are most likely to repeat as a customer, and also most likely to refer you to other customers. But there's really never been a concerted, concentrated effort or a plan to do that, right? It's been CRM with drip emails. And what we all know about drip emails is they don't work, So it's going to take a higher level of communication, the 7 levels of communication, right? And it is one of those where it's time, right? I mean, I think that hit it on the head. Is marketing is such a buzzword. It's like, you want to have somebody attend your class, call it something marketing, right? Referral marketing, and then talk about something else, But it's time to do less marketing to strangers, and it's time to do more communicating with friends. And especially in the real estate industry, it drives me nuts that your first 5 transactions are going to be sphere. They're going to be friends and family or people they know. And so what do? We work with those 5. We take the commission, pay our bills or whatever, and then we use some of it to invest back in the business. Do we use that investment in the business in going back to family and friends and growing our sphere and nurturing and developing this sphere? No, they use it to pay for Zillow ads, or they try to do it the easy way, quote unquote. And they invested in marketing. They invest. Why? You don't buy Christmas presents first for your strangers. You buy Christmas presents for what do? You take your hard-earned money and you use it to buy gifts for your family. What if you did the same thing in your business? Yeah. Right? And that's the approach that we take with the 7L system. Jodie O is one of the greatest champions on this. And I have to drop this in, though it wasn't really a subject of today's podcast. Is Jodie O leads a phenomenal book club. And so she's had, multiple people, dozens of people pay to go through her book club. And it is a phenomenal book club. So if you're in the Utah area, Salt Lake City area, or, I would guess that she would even go to the outskirts to run this book club. It is a phenomenal book club on 7L and the 7L system. And she's not somebody that took a class to learn how to train it, but never did it. Jodie O's doing it, and not just doing it, but doing it at the highest level. So I would encourage you to reach out to Jodie.
We go back a long way, Michael, and I
know. And you still like me.
I know.
I've always liked you. It's a surprise that I'm cool enough to be on your radar. I just want you to know that, right? And I know Dave keeps me on your radar because Dave's kind of not cool like me. We're kind of nerdy. So I know that it's always, hey, you can talk to Michael.
That brings up an interesting point, Michael, because your very first edition, your self-published edition of your book is signed by you, but it's addressed to Dave.
Oh. You don't have a signed copy of 7L?
I don't.
That's criminal.
I show off the book that I hold so dearly, and it's addressed to Dave.
Here's what's cool. So he's got one of the first 10,000 copies, well, I'm guessing is it the matte finish or the gloss?
No,
so the matte finish is one of the first 10,000, and then I did the gloss for the next 40,000. So he's got one of the first 10,000 copies. But listen, the new edition, it's the 12th edition. It has 12 extra pages in it and a better glossary. So I'll get you one of the new ones with your name in it, and I'll sign it Jodie O, and we'll make sure we remedy that issue.
I love it.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Thanks for being our referral master on this Referrals podcast.
Yeah, super good.
You are a referral master.
Hey,
Jodie,
I can't give enough back.
If people want to send you referrals, or they want to have you come speak as a CRT, a certified referral trainer, or the book club thing, what's a great way for people to reach you?
Well, probably my email, which is Jodie, Jodie, at alwayscalljodie.com, or hit me up on social media.
Perfect. Awesome. Jodie, thanks for all the wisdom you shared today. Super generous. Michael, as always, great getting your perspective on marketing in the generosity generation. I love that. I think you're so right. That is so important right now. So for all of you listening, go to Referrals Podcast to get Jodie's great system for her events. And we will see you all in the next episode of the Referrals Podcast. See ya.